When it comes to making movies for himself, no one does it better than Rob Zombie. Love his films or not, there is a recognition to be had about his style. With his trademark blend of horror, dark humor, and trashy dialogue, Zombie creates a repulsive and fascinating world. After bursting out of the music scene with White Zombie and eventually having a very successful solo career, Rob Zombie ventured out and put his money where his mouth is by making his first feature film. House of a Thousand Corpses first introduced the world to the Firefly clan, and continued a couple years later with The Devil's Rejects. While that film ends rather violently, fans have wondered if he would ever return to that world. But that would be impossible, right? 14 years later, Rob Zombie finally showed us how the Firefly family could return after a pretty solidifying end. And the answer is, well, pretty damn lazy. I'm Mike Conway for JoBlo Horror, and I'm gonna dig through the ditches, burn through the witches, and slam right into 3 from Hell, released in 2019. Three from Hell follows the notorious Devil's Rejects 10 years later. After a decade of being behind bars, they are at it once again and on the loose. After Otis stages a daring escape from prison with his twisted half-brother Winslow Foxy Coltrane, the pair plan to liberate his sister Baby. With their unholy alliance forged, the Rejects embark on a bloody rampage, leaving a trail of death and destruction in their wake as they journey south to Mexico. Seeking refuge south of the border, the trio find temporary sanctuary, only to face a new threat. A horde of ruthless killers hell-bent on revenge and their demise. As the battle for survival unfolds, with their unmatched experience in the art of violence, the Devil's Rejects are primed for one last joyride of mayhem and murder. Damn, that sounds pretty good. Well, better than what we got anyways. Let's put this into my trusty party meter database. Well, according to this scale, Mr. Zombie doesn't quite pull off the hat trick with this trilogy, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. And as always, I'm going to show you how to make a drink to tie along with the movie. So let's hop back behind the bar and get ready to feel so good and feel so numb in Zombie Vision.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
As with any game, there are some basic rules you can follow or modify. Trust me, you may need to modify. For today's game, take a drink when every time someone drops the F-bomb. Just kidding. But if you were to drink to swearing, take a drink when D. Wallace says bitch. Every time Baby laughs, when Foxy howls, when there's a slow motion shot, and finally, with any kill. If alcohol isn't your bag, there are plenty of things to choose from. Cannabis, if legal in your state, Delta 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever the hell number they're at now. Caffeine, hot sauce, anything. Just know your tolerance. This is supposed to be fun. We don't want to send you to the hospital. Basically, don't be a dumbass. Here, read this disclaimer if that helps. So, does 3 from Hell test the time along with the previous 2 films? Probably not, but let's go ahead and get right into this spook show, baby.
It's showtime!
The movie opens with the ending of The Devil's Rejects, sans Freebird, in super slow-mo. As we all know, the movie ended with a violent shootout that killed off the trio, or so we thought. But fan service came a-calling, and Mr. Zombie found a perfect way to bring our murderous Firefly clan back from the dead. How did he do it?
No one would have thought it possible that a single body could survive, but they did.
It was 1,000,000 to 1 shot, Doc. 1,000,000 to 1.
In the laziest way possible. During a trial deemed the longest murder trial in American history, well, the longest one so far, the three develop a cult following that demands their freedom because they think they didn't do it or some shit. If you're like me and thought, oh shit, is this cult following gonna have a bigger impact with the rest of the film? Nope. Cut to 10 years later, and now they're on death row. A camera crew documents their final moments, and interviews are conducted. We get one last, but great moment with Captain Spaulding before he is killed off screen by lethal injection. We'll come back to that. Later, Otis is sent to do outside prison work with a chain gang when he runs into Rondo, played by Danny Trejo, who was last seen dancing his shirt off in our party movie, The Crow, Wicked Prayer. If you don't remember Rondo, he was one of the unholy two bounty hunters to catch the Fireflies in the previous film. Now he's in prison for reasons, I guess, and working the chain gang with Otis. Suddenly, Foxy Coltrane, Otis's half-brother we have never seen or heard of in almost 20 years of these films, shows up and helps Otis escape. Don't get too attached to Trejo though. Meanwhile, baby Firefly is up for parole for some bizarre reason. However, her mental state has gone further south since being incarcerated to the point where she sees dancing kitty cats. Of course, her parole is denied and she takes it out on America's favorite mom from the 80s, causing her to speak like Freddy Krueger for the remainder of her screen time.
Fucking bitch!
The bitch is dead.
Bitch! Oh, you will be, bitch.
Have fun, bitch.
Shut up, bitch!
Now free, Otis and Foxy plan to break out Baby but are still hiding out from people looking for them, including this post-plastic surgery Mickey Rourke. After killing the pair of hunters, Otis and Foxy devise a scheme to liberate Baby from her prison confines. They take drastic measures by abducting the loved ones of the prison warden, Virgil Dallas Harper. With the hostages in hand, Otis and Foxy issue an ultimatum. Harper must aid in Baby's escape or face dire consequences of their wrath. Reluctantly, Harper complies, facilitating Baby's exit by masking her as a guard. However, once Baby is out of captivity, Otis and Foxy decide to tie up loose ends, dispatching the hostages and Harper himself. With a newfound sense of unity, the trio find themselves at a crossroads. Eventually, they settle on fleeing to Mexico, driven by Baby's escalating instability, which heightens the urgency of their escape. But their newfound freedom comes at a price by being noticed by Rondo's son, Aquarius, and his henchman of Rey Mysterio Jr.'s. Will this be one last ride for our three from hell? Rob Zombie is either loved or hated in the horror community. Personally, I love the dude and his music. When House of a Thousand Corpses first came onto the scene, I was so pumped to see it that I drove 2 hours to the closest theater showing it. Cut to a couple years later, and The Devil's Rejects blew my mind even more. It had a more than satisfying ending, plus it did something I thought would never happen, actually tolerating the song Freebird. Naturally, I was curious to see the Fireflies once more and how they survived that final shootout, but the end result was, well,
Boring. Delete.
Despite half of the movie being a total slog, there are some positives. So get ready to shake your ass and smoke some grass, and let's get into it. First, let's talk about the beginning. I loved this documentary style, including Sid Haig's final performance as Spaulding. Originally, this was supposed to be a much larger role, but it was reduced to a cameo due to his illness. Unfortunately, Haig passed away shortly after the film's release. The script was rewritten and brought in the long-lost half-brother Foxy Coltrane. Now, my first reaction to this revelation was jarring. However, he felt right at home when he appeared on screen, and that's due to the performance of the great Richard Brake. The man is an absolute legend in the horror community and even made Zombies 31 tolerable. It's just a shame he wasn't introduced to us sooner in the franchise. Obviously, Sherry Moon and Bill Moseley continue to be a joy to watch as these characters, but one character in particular sets this whole film in motion for me. After the pretty awesome opening, what follows is pretty slow. However, when Otis and Foxy hold up the warden and his friends, this thing gets interesting again almost halfway through the movie. And that's all because of the appearance of our favorite killer ice cream man, Clint Howard, as Mr. Baggy Britches. Howard is always a welcoming joy whenever he appears on screen, and having him here as some random-ass party clown at the right place at the wrong time is no exception. For him to keep his life, Otis tells him that he has to make him laugh, which is pretty entertaining for the audience, but not for the man behind the gun. We even get one of the coolest shots in all of Zombie's filmography. That's how you do slow motion, Mr. Snyder. Even though the clown makes him laugh when he pisses his baggy britches, he sends this bozo.
Straight to clown heaven. I hate clowns.
Oh, come on, man. Even Spalding? Don't we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny? From here on out, once Baby reconnects with Otis and Foxy, the film becomes a little more tolerable. Another fun scene is just before they decide to travel south of the border. While putting themselves up for the night in a shitty motel, Baby goes out for a soda. However, she runs into this Taco Tuesday horn dog, played by Sean Whalen, who was last seen for our party movie of Idle Hands. He gets seduced by Baby, which is a weird thing to say out loud, but first, she wants that soda. He then ends up making the mistake of saying that she looks like the prisoner who escaped, you know, like a dumbass, which costs him his life. Once they get to Mexico, everything that plays out is entertaining. But it's also a reminder that this is a complete rehash of The Devil's Rejects. I mean, think about it, the only difference is they end up in Mexico. It also lacks being backed by a bigger studio, which means that there's no room for a better soundtrack. No sir, this is backed by Saban, you know, the Power Rangers folks. What makes the first two so unique are the completely different styles. Maybe Rob ran out of ideas. At least think of a better way to bring them back to life than miraculously surviving a shitload of bullets. Like, literally, make them free from hell. I wonder what that would look like. Let's see here.
The search for the fugitives known as the Devil's Rejects resulted in a violent clash with police.
In a world where evil knows no bounds, where darkness reigns supreme, comes a tale of resurrection and revenge. They were thought to be gone forever, but death could not contain them. Now they're back with a vengeance. Their followers turn to the one who dared to defy the natural order. Rob Zombie invites you to prepare for the descent into madness unlike anything you have ever seen. The Devil's Rejects have risen, and now they're ready to unleash hell. 3 from Hell. Unleashing hell this summer.
And that's it. 3 from Hell came out in 2019 when it had a very limited theatrical run. Believe it or not, it also has the highest rating over his other films on Rotten Tomatoes, so, you know, take that with what you will. Like I said, I'm a fan of Rob Zombie and his films. Yes, even The Monsters I thought was dumb fun. Don't unfollow. What's your favorite Rob Zombie film? Let us know in the comments and we will see you on the next one.